like posters? Of course you do, you big goober. Then head on over to Displayed. Whether you want a framed picture of Carolina's bosom, yep, there that is, whew, you saucy biscuit, or your very own map of Biscuit Town. Look at that, I can see my house from here. Oh, that's nice. Then head on over to display.com/biscuit. A small amount of every single purchase will go towards helping my channel. So thank you to Display. Hello, you sexy biscuits, and welcome back into Kingdom Come Deliverance. Well, that 2 years has officially flown by. It only feels like a couple of months ago that the game came out. I'm gonna be honest, when I started doing Kingdom Come Deliverance content, I did not think I'd still be doing it 2 years later. But this game has kept me coming back, and I absolutely bloody love it. It's safe to say I am a fan of this game. I've looked at every single patch note, I've looked at every single update to the game, and I've played all the DLCs. So I think I'm safe in saying that I know this game quite well. But I am not biased. If I ever see issues in video games, I will always bring them up. And that brings us to the launch of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Kingdom Come Deliverance started its life on Kickstarter. This was on January 22nd of 2014. Now, they were planning on having this game released by December of 2015, which obviously didn't happen, seeing as we got it all the way in February of 2018. But I'm glad they took their time. Out of the £300,000 goal, £1,106,371 was raised. It's obvious that quite a few people wanted this game, being backed by 35,384 backers. And what you're seeing in the background right now is the original trailer for Kingdom Come Deliverance. It's safe to say a lot's changed. It's not exactly the same as this. I think one of the biggest issues for people was they showed these amazing, massive battles, and unfortunately they never arrived in the full game. Of course, we had big battles in places like Przemysławiec and also near the end of the game, but we didn't have anything on this scale. Well, there's always a sequel, right, eh, Warhorse? Come on, you know you want to. One of the things that never really changed was the combat system. They even have the same marker for when you're aiming your sword in different directions. And I'm gonna say right now, I love the combat in Kingdom Come Deliverance. I know a lot of people had issues with it, especially early on in the game, but once you get really good at it, it's fantastic. And in my personal opinion, it beats stuff like For Honor and also Mordhau. I think this was possibly the biggest pull for me. I loved how the combat looked when I first saw this original Kickstarter trailer. Because truth be told, back in 2015, I think, I saw this Kickstarter trailer. And I got very excited and then completely forgot about the game. It wasn't until late 2017 that I stumbled upon Kingdom Come Deliverance once more. And at that time, they'd actually released a beta. Now, this beta build had an incredibly dense forest. And while yes, the forest in Kingdom Come Deliverance right now is amazing, it's one of the nicest looking forests in a video game, the beta had a way more dense forest and looked incredible. Now obviously, due to the game not running too great during this beta period, they had to bring some of these features down a little bit. Another thing about this beta is that the character models were completely different. Henry looks nothing like Henry. And also, one of the first quests in the game where you're trying to find Riki's father takes place in a completely different town. One of my biggest regrets was never getting my hands on this beta of the game, because I would love to explore this. So Warhorse, if you still have access to this beta and are willing to let me play it on the channel, I would be very grateful. I would love to do a comparison video, especially with the different towns and how the characters look. I would absolutely love to do that. If you want to see that, send at Warhorse Studios a tweet and be like, hey, let Sexy Biscuit access your beta. That's not a euphemism. And on February 13th, 2018, Kingdom Come Deliverance released on consoles and Steam. And it was okay. I think they could have left it in the oven a little bit longer, but what we got was a great start. And the game had many bugs, many many bugs, it had bugs coming out of its wazoo, although not unlike another company called Bethesda. But I think the main takeaway here is that Bethesda still have glitches in games like Skyrim on the Nintendo Switch, which reside from when it was originally on the 360. Kingdom Come Deliverance, on the other hand, has been worked on endlessly. And this is one of those things that I always see as people asking, hey, have they fixed the bugs yet? Yes. Yes, they have. Not every bug, not every game is perfect. But you know what? They have done a bloody fantastic job. This was Warhorse Studios' first game as a studio, and it's clear to see that Kingdom Come Deliverance has been this major learning experience for the studio. And one of those things that they've really learnt about is performance. It's safe to say that Kingdom Come Deliverance's performance wasn't fantastic. Looking back at my early videos, you can see that I mainly spend most of my time in forests, and that's because the game ran terribly anywhere else. You throw in a few NPCs and you can say goodbye to double digits. No, I'm exaggerating, it wasn't that bad, but it was something that I saw a lot of comments about. And it's another thing that they have worked endlessly on over these last 2 years. And I would say that around the 1 year mark, the game was brilliant. I think the performance was almost completely worked on. So for this last year, it's been absolutely bloody fantastic. Now, do I think it's good for a game to be released with bugs and performance issues? No, I don't think it's right for any game to be released with those. And I have made points about this before. While I am a big fan of Warhorse Studios and Kingdom Come Deliverance, I have made it known before that I've had issues with the certain bugs that have been in the game and performance. But instead of hiding away from their audience and kind of closing down a little bit, Warhorse Studios hasn't done that. They have been in contact with their audience and me constantly. There have been many games that have released where the company will just disappear. Just take a look at games like Anthem. And instead of running away when people gave them criticisms, they released bloody Easter eggs into the game. It was the best day ever. One of my favourite things was to take an Easter egg and put it at the top of Redai and then watch it roll all the way down. Unfortunately, they didn't do that last year. I'm hoping it returns this year. Warhorse Studios definitely has this amazing sense of humour, especially on April's Fools when they said they were adding loot boxes into the game. Oh god, that was a short moment of panic and then realization that, oh yes, it's April Fool's Day. And it's those moments that have made me absolutely fall in love with the studio. So not only have they worked on a majority of the bugs in the game and also performance, but they've also added new content. I'm going to start first with paid content. This is the DLC that released for the game. In early 2018, they released this roadmap, and on this roadmap it showed a future of Kingdom Come Deliverance. Now, seeing this, everyone assumed that Kingdom Come Deliverance would get its DLC throughout 2018, and by the end of it, it would end. But that wasn't exactly the case. Due to some small delays and fact they added stuff into the game that we didn't even ask for, which was fantastic, Kingdom Come Deliverance's added content lasted all the way up to May of 2019. So I'm going to do a quick rundown of all the DLCs and tell you what I think is worth it. Starting with the cheapest DLC, Treasures of the Past, which I think you got with the deluxe edition of the game. This just added treasure maps. These maps you could use to find the hidden chests throughout the game. Is it worth it? Maybe? If you can get it for a cheap price, I definitely think you should go for it. I've seen it for as low as I think about £1, so yeah, I would get it at that price, but I don't really think this counts as a main DLC. So the first major piece of DLC is From the Ashes. Now, I may be slightly biased here, this is my favourite piece of DLC. This added in the ability to rebuild Przemysławiec, which is a town that you discover throughout the story of the game. And I bloody love this. You get tasked to meet up with the locator Marius, or as I like to call him, Douche Canoe. And you have to rebuild Przemysławiec into the best town ever. Now, do you want a bakery or do you want a stables? Do you want a training ground or do you want a weapon shop? You can basically make this town as you like it. One of the coolest things about this DLC was the fact that you could go to people that you've met throughout the story of the game, or had just run across randomly and basically hire them to work in your town. So let's say you met this amazing baker called Barbara and you were like, hey Barbara, come work in my town, and then she comes and works in your town and only makes bloody pretzels. Okay, that may not be the case for everyone, but I really did like that aspect to it. So I called my town Biscuit Town and history was made. For me personally, I think this DLC was a massive thing for the channel. Not only did that series do incredibly well, which I was incredibly grateful for, but also I found my own style. And a lot of the in-jokes that still remain on the channel, including Barbara and bloody Tom Selleck, come from that original series. Ah, what another beautiful morning in Biscuit Town. The arrows are floating, the butterflies are fluttering, and no one's been hanged today. You know what? Today is a good day. I'm going to go and see how our new baker is doing after I fired Barbara last time. Good God, she was terrible. Okay, Henry, you need to make a good first impression. Make sure you look all dapper and cool, and make the best entrance in all of Biscuit Town. Hello, it's me, Henry, bailiff of... Who are you? What? Barbara! Just gonna close this a second. Sorry about that, I'm absolutely fine. Okay, questions. Barbara, when did I say that you could hire a guard? Firstly, you don't even bloody work here anymore. Who are you? Who are you? Oh, the silent treatment, is it? Did you pay him not to talk to me? I wouldn't bloody put it past you. What is it with your obsession of making bloody pretzels in my bloody biscuit bakery? Firstly, why do you keep putting them in an L shape? Oh, I get it. I get, yeah, that's a big note to me, isn't it? Oh yes, the big L. Thanks, Barbara. So I've got a thank from the ashes for that. The next major piece of DLC was The Amorous Adventures of the Bold Sir Hans Capon. And this saw you play as Henry trying to find Hans Capon love. Now the woman he'd fell head over heels for was called Carolina. Oh, I forgot how much fun it was to say that name. I really like this DLC because I got to spend more time with Hans Capon. I think he's a great character. He's one of my highlights of that game because you really hate the guy, but there's some niceness there, and I think that Henry and him work really well together, especially during the quests where they go off hunting. I really did enjoy their chemistry and how they bounced off one another. So this DLC for that aspect was perfect. Coming after that was the Band of Biscuits. This sees you being hired by Radzig to help an old acquaintance, Kuno of Rickwald, and you work with his mercenary band. Possibly the best quest in all of this DLC was the Ring of Bacchus. I think it was absolutely bloody fantastic. Looking back on all the DLC, I think this was my least favourite. I just couldn't really get into the characters as much as I could in From the Ashes and the Hans Capon quest. But I think it is worth getting, especially if you have the Royal Edition, you own this already. And also, this is very combat orientated. A lot of the other DLCs weren't, they were more story driven. So I suppose it's really up to you on what you're looking for in Kingdom Come. Now the last piece of paid DLC was A Woman's Lot, possibly the biggest expansion to Kingdom Come Deliverance that we'd seen. This is highly worth it, especially if you want to see the prologue sequence in Skalitz from a completely different angle. It even lets you speak to characters who you weren't able to speak to before, and it references that fact in the DLC. I absolutely bloody love that. Now the Woman's Lot DLC was cut into two segments. Not only did you have a pretty lengthy quest where you play as Teresa during the Skalitz prologue, but also you have this major quest with Henry and Johanka. Now, I'm going to say right now, both of these quests are highly emotional, so I would maybe bring some tissues when you play them, but honestly, I think they're fantastic, and this is the second best DLC in my opinion. It is a little bit more expensive than the other DLCs, but I think it's highly worth it, seeing as they added so much content. Now alongside this was also released some free DLC. Now this free DLC added in some more dating stuff with Teresa, which allows you to dump her. It also allows her to dump you, which I wasn't expecting. But not only that, but they also added in a dog companion into the main game. so you're actually able to have a dog with you from the start of Retai. Now this was a running trend with all the DLCs. Not only did they add in paid content, but they also added in free stuff to go alongside them. So with the Handscape On DLC, they added in the tournament mode, one of the most fun modes in the game. This is something that I wanted from the very beginning. I think the only thing that disappointed me about it was the fact that you couldn't, let's say, just go up to the tournament and be like, right, I want to fight this specific person and just practice with them. I think that would have been absolutely fantastic. But the tournament itself is quite hard, but a lot of fun. And you also get some pretty good items out of it. And working our way back to From the Ashes came Hardcore mode. Now a lot of people think this is the best way to play Kingdom Come Deliverance. It gets rid of your compass. You have to literally navigate with the sun. Also there's a load of different negative perks you can pick, and if you complete the game using all negative perks, you get a pretty cool achievement. Personally, I'm not the kind of person who likes to play games that are incredibly difficult. While I don't personally play this mode, I see how incredibly immersive it can be. And that's one thing about Kingdom Come Deliverance that I will keep saying over and over again. It's incredibly immersive. It's the most immersive game I've ever played. It reminds me of being a kid walking through the New Forest, which was quite close to my house. Taking in all the sounds of the birds and just getting away from it all is recreated perfectly here in this game. I think it's the most incredible forest in a video game. I think that the characters and the people you meet in the game are also incredibly immersive. I think it's fantastic. And with the release of The Woman's Lot came the last updates for the game. But that wasn't exactly the end. Warhorse Studios had been promising modding support for a very long time. Now a lot of people assume this was also coming to consoles, but that really wasn't the case. This was coming exclusively to PC. And we finally got that. They released the modding tools to everyone on Nexus Mods. And not only is this an absolutely bloody fantastic idea to keep the game going for a lot longer than it would have if there wasn't mod tools, but it also allows creativity. It's definitely still early days, but we have seen some incredible mods, one of my favourites being the camping mod. I did a whole video on that and I'm going to leave a link in the description. I think it's definitely worth getting your hands on. But there are some major projects in the works, including the Hussite Wars mod, and I think there's even a Game of Thrones mod still being worked on. So what's next? I personally believe that they are working on some form of sequel. The game ends on a cliffhanger, and that was one of the biggest negatives I saw surrounding the game. I want to see where this goes. For all we know, they're going to announce it today on the 2-year anniversary of KCD, or possibly at this year's E3. But I'm really keeping my fingers crossed because Warhorse Studios has proved themselves to be an incredibly caring game company, which you don't generally see nowadays. They have taken something that was broken and they have fixed it and done so much more. And I can't commend them enough on that. If you're still possibly on the fence about purchasing KCD after this video, it's actually available today for free on the Epic Game Store. And that runs from the 13th, I think, to the 19th of February. Download it, honestly, it's worth every single free penny. And for those of you on consoles, it's currently available on the Xbox Game Pass. Now this is crossplay with PC as well, and it is so bloody worth it. I make KCD videos because I absolutely love the game. And when I tell you that, I am being completely sincere. Not only is Kingdom Come Deliverance one of the most immersive games ever made, but it is possibly one of my favourite games of all time. And I can't wait to see what Warhorse does next. So until then, I'll see you next year for Kingdom Come Deliverance 3 years later. Okay, maybe not. We'll see how it goes. I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, make sure to leave a like and share this video. It would mean the absolute world to me. And also, subscribe! That would be fan-bloody-dozy. Anyway, thank you so much for watching, but until next time, that's me, out. Bye, guys.